Hello, friends and colleagues. Thanks so much for joining today. We are going to go over how to start an LLC in Oregon. So, every state is different. So, if you are not in Oregon, you will want to look up how you go about starting an LLC in your state, what their requirements are, but this might give you some ideas even if you are in a different state. Okay. So I've created a little slideshow to help keep us organized and on track, and just a little disclaimer, this is not meant to replace legal or professional advice. So be sure that you decide first off if an LLC is the right business type for you. And I am not the person to tell you that because everyone's situation is different. So you will want to do your own research and consult a professional, get some legal advice if that feels like something that you're not sure of. Okay, so I will be providing all of the links either in the comments of the YouTube video or on my website or both. I have a lot to go through here, so there's a lot of resources, and I'll walk you through step by step. Okay, so the first thing you'll want to do is gather up your information for your LLC. You'll need your business name, address, phone number, email address, and a mailing address if that's going to be different. You'll want to write a description of your services and products. Short, it can be bullet points, just a general overview of what you're offering. You'll need to know who is the LLC organizer, and a lot of times this will just be you. But if you have several members of your LLC, then you might have different people designated to different roles. And I have laid out what each of those roles mean. And I have pulled this information directly from the articles that are linked here, which I will include with the resources as well. So an LLC organizer is the individual or entity responsible for facilitating the technical information of an LLC on behalf of the LLC. This person does not have to be a member of the limited liability company, so it can be someone outside, like somebody setting up the LLC on your company's behalf could do this. When I've set up my LLCs, I just make this myself. The LLC registered agent is an individual or business entity located at a physical street address in Oregon whose sole responsibility is to accept legal documents. This would be service of process, lawsuits, liens, subpoenas, anything legal that your business may need or have delivered in the future. So again, this is usually just myself, but that will depend on your setup. And then you'll need to decide, will the LLC be member managed or manager managed? In a member managed LLC, the owners have collective control over the company's decisions. A manager managed LLC places management authority in the hands of a professional manager or one or more elected members. The choice goes to the heart of your company's day-to-day operations, so it's a good idea to consult an attorney. And if you are just a partnership LLC or a single owner LLC, then obviously that would be you or your business partner managing the operations. So you would choose member managed. Okay. Next up is choosing your name. So you do not have to use your official legal name registered on your articles of organization, which you will need to file in Oregon when you set up your LLC, to do business in the real world. So what that means basically is you can have your LLC be called one thing and you can be doing business as something else. So basically you would register your LLC with the name that your LLC will have, and then you would register your doing business as name or your assumed name separately with Oregon. So the first one, registering your name and basically filing your articles of incorporation, setting up your LLC, is $100. To then also have an assumed name, you would pay an additional $50, and you would do those two things set up separately. Okay. Next step is to search to see if the name that you want is available. And I will share the links for this once again, but you can see that here you can put the business name and search. Oh, and I always forget this part. I want to search with the LLC. And the last thing is I want to search business name availability check. It's very restrictive. There we go. So it looks like the name I'm looking for is available. Alrighty, next up, you would do your actual setting up of your LLC, registering your business name. And again, that's $100. So this is really good to know because it is, there are many links that will come up if you do a Google search for how to set up an LLC. And there are many companies that will charge you quite a bit of money to set it up for you. You can do that. That's fine if you're willing to pay the cost to have someone set it up for you. Okay. But just know that the actual cost is $100 or $150 if you're doing an assumed business name, and you don't have to have someone else set it up for you. So just be careful that you don't click on the wrong link and confuse yourself and end up paying more than you should. And also, if you are to go with a company that you, want to have set it up for you, you're sharing a lot of really personal information. Make sure that they're legit and recommended. You could always check with the Better Business Bureau, things like that. Do your research. Okay. So don't mind this because I've been, playing around with recording this video a little bit. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do register name. And then we're going to choose domestic limited liability company. And then you can see here, if you wanted to also do an assumed business name, you have that option there. Okay. Now it's going to give me the opportunity to once again check, and you have to add the LLC there. And it might tell me it's not available because of my playing around. Okay, great. So it's telling me, yep, it's available. So we're good. Activity description is going to be adult foster care home and business services. The duration, basically, do you intend this business to dissolve on a certain date, or will it last seemingly forever as far as you know? So perpetual is, it's going to last for all of time, hopefully. And then business email. Okay, enter your business email there and make sure this is an email that's not going to have a bunch of spam and where things are going to get lost. You're going to want to be able to receive emails there and make sure that you get them. So even if you create a specific email for these types of things, then that's a good idea. Okay, address. Mailing address. Oh, that's... All right. And I'm blacking out the mailing address because I want to protect my personal information. So you'll add your daytime contact information there. And then there's a bunch of little options here. And you'll want to expand each of those and choose the appropriate things that you want. So I like email notifications. And make sure the email that you want notifications from is correct. And physical location. So we don't have a physical location yet, so I'm gonna use a dummy location, which will also be blacked out for you since I don't necessarily want those things to be public. Registered agent is an individual or entity of record registered in Oregon. Most likely for all of us, it's gonna be individual. And I am gonna be our registered agent. postal code. Your address or whoever the registered agent is, and then organizers. So organizer, we talked about that before. I'm gonna do individual, and I'm gonna put myself there once again, and I will put my own address again, and I will save that. And we have it there. Individuals with direct knowledge, the name and address of at least one individual who's a member or manager of the limited liability company or authorized representative with direct knowledge of the operations of business activities of the limited liability company. Okay, this could be you. It could be your business partner. Okay, for whatever reason, last time I had to go out and come back in, so this one's probably just a glitch. I'll enter whomever the organizer will be's information here. Statement of management. So we talked about this, member managed or manager managed. We're going to do member managed. Adding additional initial members or managers. This filing is optional at this time. Your bank may require this. You want to add initial members or managers. I'm going to go ahead and add myself and my husband, who is my business partner. Oh, and you have to choose member or manager. So we're both members of this LLC, not managers, except for it won't let me choose anything. I guess it's choosing it. It's just not showing me that it's choosing it. Professional services rendered. Will we render a professional service or services? So if you click yes here, it's going to give you a list: acupuncturists, chiropractors, naturopathic doctors, physicians. You will choose as a massage therapist, other licensed professional. I am going to click no, because actually what we'll be doing with this company, it does not apply to us. Okay. This company elects to indemnify its members, managers, employees, agents for liability, or this company is a benefit subject to so on and so forth. So I'm not going to enter anything here right now. And I will file the operational outline later. So we'll save this and then we'll hit continue. And you just make sure everything looks correct, and you won't be able to see some of this because it's going to be blacked out. And if everything looks correct, you can hit continue. Okay. All right. Okay, and then if I wanted to go ahead and submit and pay, which I'm not going to do right now, I would just go on to the next screen. Instead, I'm going to hit cancel right now, and I'm going to exit. And then you'll see I started it here, and I can just continue that when I'm ready. So this is kind of an offshoot. We're not going to go over this, but you may or may not need a BIN number, which is an employer ID for Oregon. And that is something you'll need to look into. And there's a little link here that you can see, do I need one or do I not? For our LLC, since we have 2 members, we will need a payroll tax registration, a BIN number. But we don't necessarily plan to have employees right away, so we won't really need to pay employment taxes, but we will need to have it for Oregon anyway. So just a little side note there. Okay, so register your business. Yay, that part is the part that we wanted to accomplish. So once you submit that and pay it, you've submitted your LLC application, and then you'll just be waiting on the powers that be to respond to you and let you know when that has been instated or whatever the case may be. So the other thing, which is optional, is preparing an operating agreement. So an LLC operating agreement is not required in Oregon, but it's highly recommended. And this is pulled directly from this article from NOLO, which I highly recommend reading, and I will include in the links. This is literally verbatim, so I did not write this myself. And again, this is not meant to replace legal advice. But basically, the operating agreement sets out the rights and responsibilities of the members and managers, including how the LLC will be managed. It can also help preserve your limited liability by showing that your LLC is truly a separate business entity and not just like a sole proprietorship. In the absence of an operating agreement, state LLC law will govern how your LLC operates. This doesn't mean a lot in your day-to-day operations, but for protections on your business, your personal property, this is what they're saying. It's a good idea to have this. And if an operating agreement is created, it doesn't have to be filed with the articles of organization. You can just keep it on file. And it's a good idea for all members to have signed and dated it and all of that good stuff. So maybe at some point I'll share a template for an operating agreement. I don't have one just at this moment, but I can prepare one and then I'll make that a free download on my website. I will share when I have done that. Okay, the next thing to think about, so you've already created your LLC here if you've submitted it through that whole process we just went through, but these are just some additional things to think about, which is the tax compliance. So there's a lot of links that I'll share for you to go through. I'm definitely not a tax professional and it is not my strength, so I do not give tax advice. But you will need to obtain an employer identification number from the IRS if you have more than one LLC member. Even if you're doing business, you're going to want to make sure, do I need an employer identification number? That'll be some research that you want to do. It's to make sure you're in compliance with the federal government as well as your state, and then of course county and city as well. But I did create a second video that's on the channel that you can watch on how to set up your IRS EIN, and it is free to do that, and you can do it online, and it takes literally minutes. So there's some breakdown on corporations and sole proprietorship and all of that kind of thing. I'll let you read through those resources on your own, but just wanted to mention it. And then you'll want to think about business licenses and whether or not you need any business licenses. So there are lots of resources in Oregon for finding out if you need any additional licenses. You can read through the How to Start a Business in Oregon guide, which is amazing that this exists. It can be a little confusing, I'm not gonna lie, but they actually do give you a checklist, which is great. And there's tons and tons of details and knowledge to be had in here. So I recommend getting that, and I will share a link to it so that you can read through it on your own time. And then you can search through and see whether or not you need additional licenses here on the local requirements as well. And I will share that link also. And then the Department of Revenue, in some cases, you'll need to register with the Oregon Department of Revenue, and I will share the link so that you can see if that's something that applies to you as well. Okay, so all Oregon LLCs authorized to do business in the state must file an annual report with the Oregon Secretary of State. This is really good to know. When I first started my LLC, it was set up by my accountant at the time, and I didn't really get informed of all the things that would need to happen after that. So I learned the hard way when I missed doing this. You can, get fined, and it's no big deal. You can fix it, and they're actually very kind, helpful people at the state of Oregon that will help you if you don't do something right. But just know that you will need to file an annual report. You can do that online through the Oregon Secretary of State Business Registry web renewal webpage, which I will share the link to. And it is a $100 fee a year for the domestic LLCs. And if you, for some reason, had a foreign LLC, it's more expensive. And you can learn more about this at my new favorite website, NOLO, which has tons of amazing resources. And I will share all of these links with you. Okay, finally, you'll just, once again, check your local licensing requirements in Oregon. If you're opening a massage business, you may or may not need a facility permit. So I will share the link so that you can look at the OBMT website and see if that's something that applies to you. And then you'll check your city and county again. This is a repeat of what I said before, to make sure that you do or don't need additional licensing. For instance, in Multnomah County, you need to register for a division tax account, even though you'll most likely be exempt, because I think right now it's either 50,000. You have to make either over 50,000 in the year or over 100,000, and before you have to pay these taxes, so you're exempt otherwise. But you do still have to have an account, and it is still the decision of the county whether or not you will be exempt. So you should look that up and read all about it so that you know what it is and what your responsibility is. Then again, just a reminder to read through that Starting a Business Guide in Oregon, so that you can make sure you've done all of the things that you need to do and checked off all the boxes. Starting a business is a lot of steps. It's super exciting, should be really fun. These are just some logistical pieces, and I hope that having it all in a breakdown has been helpful for you. If you're struggling and you have questions, I may or may not be able to help, but I will certainly try, and I will absolutely try to find a resource for you, even if I don't have the answers myself. So please feel free anytime to reach out to me at massagebusinesscoach@gmail.com, and check out my website, massagebusinesshelp.com. My goal is always to try to make life easier for my favorite people in all the world, which is wellness providers. And I know you're doing a lot, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the video. I'm always open for feedback. Please let me know if there's something that I can share with you in a next video, or a way that my videos could be more helpful to you. And reach out and say hi anytime as well. Alrighty, I'll be back soon with more info. Please like, subscribe, share, and thank you again. Have a good day.